Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm excited to guide you through today's Yin Yoga practice, High Ankle Buck, which is going to focus on the lower body. So if you're feeling pretty tight from the hips down, this is the class for you today. We're not going to have any super long holds for our postures. We're going to focus a bit on one side and then the other. Hopefully when class ends, you are just laying on your mat feeling as relaxed as possible. We're going to work all the way up to the end of class. So I encourage you to make up your mind right now, if you can, if you have the time when class is over, to just hang out in your Savasana for as long as possible. I'm going to keep my camera going for a little bit because I know that those of you who are watching on Facebook or who are watching on YouTube, if you do want to stay for a longer Savasana and my feed ends, that it just starts playing something else really loud as soon as class is over. And I don't want you to be in that peaceful state and all of a sudden have some sort of jarring loud noise. So prepared to stick around for a few extra minutes. If you can, if you can't, that's totally fine. Whatever time you have today for your practice is perfect. We're gonna start in 2 amazing minutes in kneeling. If you have trouble kneeling, bring that prop that I suggested. I'm gonna grab some water. I'm gonna make my space as relaxing as possible. If you have an opportunity to put on some quiet, slow jams, that's so awesome during a yin class because it can be a great distraction, especially if any of the stretches are a little challenging for you. Cool. Thank yourself for coming. I'm so glad you're here. I'll see you back in the mat in 2 beautiful minutes. Where's my room spray? Well, okay, we'll take the lesser room spray. Can you find a place to chill out? Hello. Yay! It's 4:30. Okay, so we're gonna come on down and start in kneeling or in saddle pose. As you come into kneeling, I really want you to think about what's happening with your feet. It's okay for your toes to come together and your heels to separate. It's okay to have some extra space between your feet here. What you really want to avoid is having your heels come towards each other and your toes pointing out. I can't even get into that position. It's very uncomfortable for me. Not necessarily the best stretch. So if sitting down on top of your heels is uncomfortable for you, think about setting up a prop underneath of you. Remember, you can open your legs a little bit wider to either bring those toes in towards each other, top of the feet flat on the floor behind you. Yay! And let's start to come into our practice, into our breath right now. Hi, Uncle Buddy. We've got about 4 minutes right here in kneeling. So just take this time to relax, to check in on yourself, to let whatever else has been floating through your mind through the day slowly make its way out of there. Taking the time right now to just focus on the present, to your breath, to your body, and just being here right now. So that first tuning into your breath, see if you can already start to slow your breath down. Notice if you're breathing shallow at the top of your chest, and work to elongate both your inhales and your exhales to breathe all the way down to the very bitty bottom of your diaphragm. Notice if during these breaths your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears. Very normal if you're feeling stressed. So just work to create some heaviness through your elbows, through that upper body. Start to do that total body scan and just notice where you might be harboring some tension or discomfort. Start all the way from the crown of your head. And slowly with each breath, intentionally just notice that inhale all the way down your body, through your neck, your shoulders, your chest. And if you find any spots or sources of tension and tightness, bring your exhale into those and exhale out the stress, the expectations. Just think about inhaling in space and lightness and air. Exhaling out all that does not serve you. So as we come into some of the stretches today, you might find that some of them feel simply amazing. And you might find that some of them are a bit of a challenge. It's really going to depend on how your body is feeling today, and the beautiful reminder that every day is different, so please just respect whatever it is that your body can bring to the mat. It is enough. Changing the way that you eat, you sleep. Maybe there's a lot piling up on your desk task-wise with holidays coming and going. Maybe just a little bit of holiday stress. That's okay. It's okay if you're feeling those things. So take a moment to just notice and be aware and tell yourself, yep, that's happening. But I'm going to work right now to just let that go. I'm going to let it all go. I'm going to be right here, right now. Just focusing on your physical and mental health, a little bit of stillness mostly today, but also stretching and some moving meditation. Take 2 more big slow breaths right here, the biggest, slowest breaths you can. If you haven't already been enjoying a moment with your lungs full, and then another moment with your lungs empty, practice that right now. And then we're going to come into tabletop. So if you had a prop behind you, reach back, move it out of the way. Awesome. We're going to tuck our toes under. So go ahead, tuck your toes under as much as you can. You can even walk them in a little bit more to really work to get the balls of the feet towards the floor. Next up, we have big toe stretch. So keep pressing those big toes down into the floor. Well, it's all toe stretch, but I want you to make sure that you're not just knocking those heels out to the side and losing part of the stretch. So you can lift yourself up as much as feels good for you. The more that you lift yourself up, the more challenging this stretch is going to be. We have just over a minute right here. So do that total body scan. Notice if while bringing some tension into your feet, tension crept back towards your shoulders, relax them away from your ears. Reminder that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving, and it's normal when you're feeling a little stressed or overwhelmed, scared to look around the room for something. If that's you, find that one spot to focus your eyes. Feel free to even close them. Continue that total body scan within your stillness. No need to go any deeper than you are right now. Keep that calm, quiet breath. 3 more. All right, go ahead, bring your hands back down to the floor. Uncurl your toes, tap them on the floor, bring that blood flow back. And then come into your stillness, adjust yourself as much as you need to, back into your tabletop. We'll enjoy just about a minute of cat-cow right here. And then we're gonna start working into those hips. So really use your full breath. Come as deep into cat and cow as feels good for you today. If you want to hang out a little bit longer in one stretch, maybe bringing your hips a little closer towards your heels, finding more of a stretch in that lower back if that's what you need, or bringing those shoulders forward. Maybe a little rounding through the glutes, the belly, to bring more of a stretch to your upper body. Oh my gosh. Whoa, sorry, that gave me a big old cramp. Just breathe through it. Enjoy creating some movement right now. You've got about 3 more breaths. And then we're gonna work one side at a time with a little mini flow. One more time through, whatever stretch feels good for you. Cat, cow, shaking your tail. And then separate those fingers really wide. Press the hands, palms into the floor. Keep the pads of your fingers down on the floor. We're gonna tuck our toes under once again. Don't worry, we're not gonna stay in down dog very long, but we're gonna use it to help us get into pigeon. Let's do that right leg first. So take a deep inhale, send those hips up towards the ceiling. Lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to shift the weight forward into our hands, palms. Bring that right knee towards your elbow. Touch those toes down towards the floor. Lower it down and walk your left leg back to come into any version of pigeon that feels good for you. So maybe you have your knee a little bit more bent and you're actually just sitting on your knee. Or maybe you're bringing that right heel across to the left side of your mat. This is one of the opportunities that you have today to use a prop. If you're having trouble getting that right glute down towards the floor, using a pillow, using a block, using a rolled up towel, just come into stillness. Your option if you'd like to be lifted here in pigeon. Let's bring in a beautiful stretch through my right glute. Or if you'd like to come down a little bit more towards the floor and focus on creating more of a stretch in your right hip flexor. Sorry, I mixed the right and left up there about the glute talk. I'm gonna go for this big stretch here in my left glute, staying lifted, a little bit in the back. We're gonna spend about 3 minutes in each of the next postures that we do. So really just work to find that stillness. You want to create a noticeable stretch. Perhaps you feel it both in your extended leg behind you and the hip in front of you as time is going on. I'm feeling it all over. Remember, it's normal if your body starts to maybe twitch or shake. You just want to take out those voluntary movements and ask yourself, am I squeezing anything that I don't need to be squeezing? And if so, find some relaxation there. It's normal to feel a little uncomfortable. You don't want to feel any sharp shooting pain. If you do happen to feel any pain, come into a lesser version of the posture and back to your stillness. We are halfway. One minute left. Do that total body scan, head to toe. Relaxing and releasing along the way. Make sure you're still enjoying these big, slow, full breaths. Not coming into a posture so deep or such a challenge that it limits your ability to breathe. Breath first. Posture second. 3 more breaths right here. Okay, if you put a prop under your glute, move it out of the way. You can shift a little bit towards that right side. Keep this 90-degree bend in your right leg. And we're going to go ahead and fold the left leg in for deer pose. You can be as wide as you want to with your lower body in deer pose. I'm going to turn a little to the side so you can see what's happening here. So I find it cozy to bring the sole of my right foot to my left thigh. And then to bring that back foot all the way in. You might find it a little bit more comfortable to turn this foot out to create some 90-degree angles. Work to release your left glute down to the floor. Beautiful. Come back to your stillness. If you need to use a prop to help find that relaxation with your upper body, focus on the stretch that you're creating, particularly through this left leg. Just working to create the slowest breath, the most intentional stillness possible. One minute left right here. Beautiful. Keep your right leg where it is. Take your left leg, bring it forward, cross your left ankle by your right knee, and then sit your left glute back down. You might need to wiggle that under leg forward, coming into square pose, or fire logs, double pigeon, Can you flex your toes towards each other? If your hip flexors are super tight and you're finding the challenge to bring this top knee down, once again, you have an option to bring your prop in to help you find that relaxation in the stretch right here. The more that you hang out at your desk, the more likely your hip flexors are to be tight. So just do the best that you can with the body that you have today. You should feel a majority of the stretch. I mean, you should feel it in your upper leg, but man, I'm feeling it in both right now. I'm feeling really tight. If you don't happen to feel it at all, you can walk those hands forward. Try to keep that chest lifted, keeping that nice flat back. It's also going to help if you have any lower back pain, and a simple extra forward hinge can create a deeper stretch. Are those toes still flexed towards each other? That is the one thing we're really working to keep engaged right now. Toes in towards the center line. Hoping you're feeling the stretch a lot in the glutes, in the thighs. You should not be feeling any sort of pain in your knees. If you do happen to feel some pain in your knees, unstack your legs. So you can always put one in front of the other to help relieve any tension. All right, 1 minute left right here. Continue with your breath. Make sure those eyes are relaxed. Take one more big breath right here. Awesome. If you reached forward, you can bring your hands behind you, uncross or unfold your legs. Take a moment, windshield wipe those knees right and left. Oh, great work. Beautiful. Let's roll over, come back into tabletop. We're going to go ahead and get the opposite side. So if you're working the same as me, we're going to get the left side now. Tuck those toes under, send your hips up to the ceiling for just a moment. If you want to pedal it out, we're just using a quick little down dog to help us transition into our pigeon. So shifting the weight forward, shoulders about on top of hands, palms, that the opposite leg. Left leg lifts up. Beautiful. We're going to bring it forward. You can cross your left toes to the right side of your mat. Bring your right knee down. Release your left shin down. And then walk that right leg back. So remember, if it doesn't feel comfortable for you to try and square the shin with the top of the mat, you could also be right here just having your leg folded underneath of you, similar to where we started off in kneeling. Awesome. Option to fold forward deeply, to use a prop to help you find some support of the left glute a little closer towards the floor. I'm going to stay lifted, finding that extra stretch through the right side while still creating a little something here on the left. So start that total body scan and just ask yourself, where are you creating extra tension that you don't need it? Can you find any relaxation in your shoulders and upper body? Can you find any relaxation in your glutes or in your toes? Especially in your mind and in your breath. halfway through right here. No need to go any deeper. Hopefully you're feeling and have created a noticeable stretch. I'm just hanging out here a little longer than usual, getting into our fascia, ligaments, tissue, even a little stretch of the bones. Last minute right here. Take one more big breath. If you came down to the floor, lift yourself up. Take your time. Let's slowly, with intention, transition into deer pose. So this time bringing the right leg up to meet with the left. Remember, you can keep things at a 90, and have that back foot a little further away. Actually think that creates more of a stretch in my body throughout the outside of the thigh and hip. So I'm going to hang out right here. Or remember, you have the option to fold that leg in a little bit more, which creates a bit more of a stretch through the quad. Find what feels good for you today. A little over 2 minutes left right here. Enjoy that calm, quiet breath, quiet mind. Solid posture. Last 3 to 4 breaths, you're worth it. Keep the stillness right now. Enjoy the stretch that you created. Breathe into its awareness. One more deep inhale. And on your exhale, shift over, shift over to that left side. Go ahead, bring your right leg crossed over that left knee. You might want to walk your left shin closer to the top of the mat. Start flexing those toes in. Sit your left glute back down. And work to stack one shin on top of the other. try to keep your ankles, the ankle bone, from your stacking so that there's not pressure applied directly onto your ankle bone. So you can even take a second if you want to. Ooh. Get those spilkies out, make some circles with your ankles, and then flex your toes towards each other. Both sides of the body aren't the same, so maybe one side was a little easier for you of this posture than the other. Reminder that if this is super uncomfortable, if using a prop underneath of your leg does not help, you can always sit in a slightly more open crisscross position. If you're not feeling any sort of a stretch in the lower half of your body, take that forward hinge. And keep flexing your toes towards each other. Take this quiet time to just listen for the furthest away sound that you can hear. And just notice whatever that sound might be. Maybe it's something pleasant. Maybe it's something chaotic or distracting. And then bring yourself back to this moment, to this breath, to this stillness, to being right here, right now, showing up for yourself. Great work. Gently lift yourself up, especially if you hinged forward. Bring your hands behind you for some support. Go ahead, kick your legs out in front. Windshield, wipe, bob those knees. Yay! All right, go ahead and start flexing your toes back towards your face. Bring your hands close by your side. You might even want to lift one glute cheek up and then another to gently walk your glutes back and bring your belly towards your thighs. Finding a big stretch on the back of our legs, on our hamstrings. If this is very uncomfortable for you, if simply sitting with your legs straight is too tense of a stretch, feel free to lift yourself up on a prop. Sitting a little bit higher can feel better, or take a generous bend of your knees, bring that belly towards your thighs. Find what feels right for you. If you're not feeling any tension in your lower back and you want to come a little bit deeper, bringing your chest to your knees, just make sure that you don't have a lot of empty space here as you're rounding forward. That's not very comfortable or the best stretch for your back. So taking that forward hinge of your hips and then rounding down from there. And if that all seems confusing, just walk your hands forward, keep lifting that chest and find a flat back. We'll spend one more minute right here. Just find one thing that you can hang out in for this final minute. Enjoy any involuntary twitching that's happening in your legs, maybe even in your back. in your toes. But once again, work to decrease any intentional movements. If you feel an itch, can you resist scratching it right now? Do you really have to adjust your clothes? Does your hair need to be fixed right this moment? Go ahead, let those glasses slide right off your face. Just eliminating those distractions that we reach for when we're feeling tense. Working to use our breath to find relaxation and change. Beautiful, walk yourself in. Awesome, next up we're going to do half stump. Half stump is an upright form of wind removing. So I'm not going to do the same leg that you're doing, because always want to make sure that you work your right leg before you work your left leg for wind removing, ascending, then descending colon, so you don't back yourself up. So I'm going to look a little opposite this time. You're going to bring your right leg in. You can bring it out a little wider if you need to. You can keep it in narrow if you would like. Work to bring your knee to the crook of your elbow. I can see it. All right, so you can always interlace your fingers, find a little bit of a lift of your chest. Maybe even creating some pressure of your belly against your thigh. We're going to spend 2 minutes right here. So you're really using your forearm, your elbow to help you squeeze your right leg in. And your left leg's just chilling. Less than 1 minute to go. Yoga is so great at helping us find comfort and relaxation in even the most uncomfortable moments. If you can keep your breath relaxed, your face relaxed, released, through some of these uncomfortable, intense postures, oh my gosh, you will control and own the world. All right, change. So release your elbow from around your knee. You can shift a little over to the left. We're going to bring just our right leg back for a little half saddle. So once again, I want you to work towards pointing your toes behind you. So your toes are pointing behind you for this one. You don't want to be turning your feet out with the inner sole towards the floor. All right, you might need to walk it in just a little bit. You can bring your hands behind you. I encourage you to bring your hands behind you. In fact, if it feels good, please lay all the way back down. Maybe you come onto your forearms and you bring the top of your head to the floor, the back of your head, lower back. Just see how you feel here. Half saddle, really big stretch, especially as you come down to the floor. Oh my gosh, throughout the whole leg, especially the quad, glute, the ankle. Simply the stretch on your ankles can be very challenging for those who run a lot. If you've had a lot of previous ankle injuries and you have scar tissue, a challenging one to create that stillness, and for me, I'm noticing a lot of fidgety. Do your best to crush the stillness. We have 2 more big, slow breaths right here. All right, if you came all the way down, bring your right hand to your foot. Start to bring your elbow to the floor. Bring your left hand down. Use both of your elbows to help lift yourself up. And then go ahead and bring that right leg forward. Take a moment, bob your knees. Bend your left leg up. We're going to bring our right leg over our left and come into a figure 4 pose. Start stretching your right knee down towards the end of the mat and walk yourself up a little bit closer. I like to turn my fingers towards the back of the mat. If it's really uncomfortable for you to stay upright for this figure 4 stretch, know that you can always relax yourself down towards the floor or use gravity and be right here if you would like. Your choice. You have just over a minute left right here. Last 2 breaths. If you walked yourself in, walk yourself back out. Uncross your legs. You can windshield wipe your feet. Then go ahead and walk yourself back. Extend your right leg out in front of you. Feel free to shake those hands out just a little bit. We're going to come into the same 3 postures on the other side. So coming into stump. I really like to twist a little bit to the side to avoid a lady business, any belly, to get my ribs away from my leg first, and then squeeze myself back in, pulling my shoulder down and back. Go ahead, release your left glute on the floor. This is so exciting. I'm talking to you about the same side of the body that I'm actually moving. I don't have to think about it really hard. Okay, so you either have your knee and your elbow crook, you can hold your other hand, you can hold onto your knee with both hands, maybe go for a little bit of a twist. Just find a hold that you can enjoy, creating a nice stretch in that hip flexor again, a little compression. Come back to your relaxed breath. Scan your body from head to toe. You don't have to flex your right toes to your face here, so feel free to relax that right leg as much as possible. Just a little engagement of that upper body to keep yourself lifted, to keep that knee, that thigh drawn towards your belly. Fred is sleeping. Okay, change. So we're going to shift gently to the right. This time bring your left knee behind you. So bring that knee and then the top of the foot down towards the floor, and then work to sit yourself down. My heel is on the outside of my glute, not the inside. I'm not sitting on top of my foot. It is to the side of my body. And if it's really tense, maybe you have your hands close towards the front of you and you're just working to get that left glute down. Toes pointing directly behind you. If it feels pretty good, you can bring your hands behind you. If that still feels pretty awesome, lower yourself down onto your forearms. Bring the back of your head down to the mat. Top of the head, then the back of the head, and then relax and release your shoulders down to the floor. Great work. We got 1 minute left right here. Remember, you're just coming into something that you can hang out in. Don't allow that knee to float up towards the ceiling to relax and release yourself out of the stretch. If anything, think about stretching through your knee gently towards the end of your mat, working to keep your knee down to the floor as much as possible. Big old stretch on the top of the thigh. Scan your body from head to toe. Use your exhale to relieve the tension, to relax a little bit more into the stretch. You don't have to come any deeper than you are right now, but can you relax wherever you are? Take 2 more breaths. And then if you made it all the way down to the floor, bring your left hand to the top of your foot. Press your elbow down to the floor. It's going to start to lift your shoulders. Other elbow comes down towards the floor and lift yourself up. Shift over to the right. Bring your left leg in front of you. Go ahead, bend your knees. Shake it out just a little bit, and then let's come into that figure 4 stretch. So right leg down on the floor, cross your left leg over the right. Once again, make sure you're not pressing the ankle bone onto your knee or thigh. Remember, you can lay down if you want to, or walk yourself in a little bit closer. This is our last active posture of the day. Great work, everyone. Just a couple more breaths left right here. If you're upright, you can walk those hands behind you. Uncross your left leg from your right. And slowly, gently lower yourself down to the mat. We'll work that transverse colon for just 1 minute. So draw both knees in towards your chest. Keep your feet relaxed side by side, but gently squeeze your knees in towards each other. You can interlace your fingers. You can grab hold of your opposite wrist. If both of those are a challenge, you can simply relax one hand on each knee. Once more, applying a little bit of pressure of the knees onto the belly. Allow the shoulders to relax down towards the floor, away from your ears. Gentle tucking of your chin towards your chest. Get more of the back of your head and your neck supported by the mat. Stretch your elbows towards your hips. Press your lower back down on the floor, all the way down to the tippy tail of your sacrum. Stretch through the crown of your head to the wall behind you. Take one more deep inhale.
And on your exhale, release your hands from your knees or each other. Slowly relax your feet down towards the floor. Stretch your legs out in front of you and come into your final Savasana. That is all the time that we have together for class today. However, as promised, and as always, I encourage you to stay here in your final Savasana for as long as possible. I'm going to keep this video going so you who do have time and want to enjoy this silence can enjoy 5 more silent minutes of Savasana together. And then challenge yourself. Challenge yourself, whatever video or sound or whatnot pops up next, to just stay still. So remain within your peaceful breath. Since you do have the option to get up off of your mat whenever you're ready, I just want to thank you right now for making this time for your class, for your Yin Yoga practice. Thank you for coming and sharing in my energy. For filling your own personal cup so you can spill your energy out and continue to pass it on and share with others. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we did today, please reach out. As always, continue to eat good foods, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, and nourish yourself from the inside out. Until I see you next, may the light within me honor the light that I see within you. Namaste.